In this video, we rewind to February 1982. A town called Malice is top of the charts, and the Birmingham Zulus are heading to West Ham's Upton Park. What could possibly go wrong? Let's hear the stories. First up, Zulu member Craig told us, "Anyone old enough to remember away days in the 80s will regale you with all sorts of horror stories. Birmingham's Zulu army is a prime example of overrated, and I'm an ex-Zulu member. You would think we were undefeatable listening to all the YouTube videos and podcasts about us. But we weren't, and away from home, we could easily come undone. There's a couple of places where you could easily end up, well, dead even, if you were simply unlucky. We all know them, the usual suspects: West Ham, Millwall, Chelsea, Everton, Liverpool, Newcastle, Sunderland, Middlesbrough, Cardiff. The list is endless, really. We had tough times at some of those, I can tell you, where I would describe the result as debatable, to say the least. My worst that I can think of right now was West Ham away in February 1982. We had about 8 coaches and a soccer special for the match, but we made the fateful error of going by coach. For some strange reason, when we got near the ground, the coach driver thought it a good idea to pull up outside a pub in East London and ask where the coach park for away supporters might be. Gets directions and parks up at the coach park. About a minute later, all the pub's pool balls had sailed through the windows and the coach door was stormed. The ICF then steamed into anyone on the coach. Massive fight on the bus until the dibble came and broke it up. Luckily, you can only really throw your fists about on a coach, so it was mainly superficial damage, like cuts and bruises. But if the police hadn't turned up, it could have got out of hand. Coppers managed to pull the ICF off the coach, but then decided to let them roam about the coach park. We gets off the coach asking when the police escort would be, and they said, "Are you joking? You're on your own." And they simply stood back and pointed the way ahead. The ICF attacked straight away. It's like the two units were working together now, the police allowing them to attack us. Some of us managed to escape, but we were chased from the coach park to the ground, a couple of 100 meters. Luckily I was fast back then, but others weren't so lucky and suffered terrible beatings. Gets into the away end and no Blues fans. It was early, about 2 p.m, and it was full of Hammers fans, 2 of whom got me in a headlock and told me I'd live another day if I gave them the contents of my pockets in exchange for a National Front badge. I thought it was the bargain of the day up to that point. Eventually the other Blues fans turned up, all with similar stories of police incompetence, no police escort, and ICF ambushes. Amazingly, the police did manage to form a small line between us and the now enraged, almost demented Hammers fans. One guy kept gesturing by slicing his finger along his throat, in an obvious display of what the future held for us. The Hammers would try to infiltrate, and fights would continually break out, with the Zulus giving as good as they got, but mainly on the back foot. But it was 3 hours of hell, really. After the match, the main Zulu firm managed to stand firm under intense pressure from the ICF, who then went looking for smaller, easier targets, like the idiots searching for their coach. Us. Only about 15 of us. We should have stayed with the Zulus who were heading for the trains, followed over the road by the Hammers mob, but thinking we hadn't got tickets for the trains, decided to go find coach. But now they've spotted us, and we are suddenly surrounded. Some words are exchanged and Bobby G decides to leg it. We follow with the Hammers lot on our tails. Just when it looks like we'll be swallowed up and battered to death, several police vans screech to a halt and stop the Hammers fans from attacking us. They even pointed us to the right coach station and held back the Hammers fans. Thank God for that. We drove home later that day in a coach, with 2 or 3 windows still intact and no headlights, drove the last few miles in darkness. By then, we were prepared for anything. I've heard people say that West Ham away coach park is only 300 meters from the ground. Well, if that's true, it's the longest 300 meters in the world, full of evil intensity. The funny thing was, that's probably what away fans thought when visiting St Andrews, with an even longer journey to and from the train station. So yes, even the Zulus could get caught out. But the main Zulus stood firm that day. Just us, mini Zulus, got battered. Not many firms went to West Ham those days, and I can see why. It's the worst place I've ever been, and that's saying something. I really did question my sanity in following the Blues that day, but still went to the next away match against West Ham the following September. But this time I went by train and with the main Zulu army. Guess what? It wasn't much better, but that's another story for another day. ICF member Scott told us. I was in the ICF in the early 80s, proper early days when everything felt raw and dangerous. Everyone talks about Millwall and Chelsea, but Birmingham's Zulu firm were coming up hard back then. Got a bit of a rep later on, but in '82 they were still earning their stripes. We'd heard whispers they were coming mob-handed, about 8 coaches and a trainload too. Fine by us. We liked it when they thought they were bringing a proper turnout. It made it worth showing up. I remember that Saturday clearly, cold as hell and a weird feeling in the air, like something bad was brewing. We had our lot together, meeting early near Barking Road, numbers building through the morning. A few lads from Essex came down. A couple from Canning Town had intel that one of the Zulu coaches was heading the wrong way and stopping at the wrong pub, some working man's boozer near the park. We clocked it quick. Coach pulls up, coach full of Zulus, and their driver, bless him, strolls into a pub full of West Ham, asking for directions to the away coach park. That pub practically exploded with laughter. 5 minutes later, we were round the back, boots and bricks ready. First the windows went in, pool balls, ashtrays, pint glasses, anything we could lob. Then the door swings open and a few of us storm it. It was like fighting in a coffin, arms flying everywhere, people slipping on glass and trying to climb over each other. Tight space, so not much damage done, but we left our mark. Then the old Bill turn up, not to arrest us, mind, just to break it up. Funny that. The Dibble just stood back afterwards, let us mill around while the Zulus got off the coach all dazed, blood on a few faces. Then they were sent walking to the ground on their own. You could practically hear the wolves howling. We followed them in little pockets, just nipping at their heels, enough to keep the pressure on. If any got separated, they got turned over. Inside the ground, we'd been there early, and the away end was like a free-for-all at first. A few of us had sneaked in or blagged tickets just to see who'd turn up. One Birmingham lad walks in, and 2 of the boys have him in a headlock before he knows what day it is. Swapped all the change in his pockets for a National Front badge as a joke. The look on his face, pure confusion and fear, was priceless. To give them credit, once their main firm turned up, they stood together. The Zulus weren't mugs. They gave it some, and a few scraps broke out through the barriers, but they were on edge. You could smell it. We had control, not just in numbers, but presence. And that's the key to winning these things. Presence. You don't need to win every fight. You just need to let them know they're not welcome. After the match was when it kicked off proper. They had a decent mob heading for the trains and the main roads, and we tried to box them in. The real game then was finding the stragglers. And we found a bunch of them, maybe 15 or so, wandering near the coach park like lambs on the hard shoulder. Easy targets. Surrounded them quickly, bit of back and forth. One of them did a runner, and the rest followed. We gave chase down the street, boots pounding on concrete, thinking we had them lined up for a final beating. Then, just as we're closing in, bang! 3 or 4 riot vans show up, sirens blaring. Feds pour out, batons in hand, pushing us back like we were the problem. The Zulus looked relieved and disappeared behind the blue wall, no doubt counting their blessings. We hung around the coaches afterwards, gave few more dirty looks, tried to spot if any more were trying to sneak off in 2s or 3s. Then we drifted back to the pubs, everyone buzzing. That was a good day for us, a proper test. They came with a rep, but they left with bruises and a reminder of where they were. You hear a lot about the Zulu army, but most of the ones who got battered that day weren't with the main lot. It's always the hangers-on that suffer worst. And yeah, fair play to their main firm for fronting up. But West Ham away, different planet in them days. You didn't just walk into East London and leave without a mark. No one did. Looking back, that whole weekend was like a war zone, but we wouldn't have had it any other way. We thank Craig and Scott for their recollections. It's clear that the Birmingham Zulus had a tough old day down at Upton Park. But didn't everyone? Thanks for watching. Don't forget to comment if you were there, and share, like and subscribe, as it all helps our channel to give you bigger and better content. Bye for now.